Alvin, it's great to be with you. And I think, I've been on the sidelines for a bit in this race, and I thought it was time to get off the sidelines and to give you whatever help you need. I know there are a lot of people in the race. So the first thing I'll say before I start touting why I think you'd be ideal for the job is that this is an important moment for prosecutors' offices. As some of you may know, I was also supportive of Mimi Rocha's run to replace the incumbent Westchester District Attorney. She appears to have won that. I mean, she won the primary and the Republican bowed out. And so now we're on to Manhattan. And I think for a lot of the same reasons, because you have integrity, you have intelligence, all the background you have, not just in SDNY, which is of course the best place to sort of learn the ropes, but also in the AG's office and also in private practice and also all the other things that you've done, I think give you the best perspective of anyone in the race. And so I worry there are so many folks in this race that people aren't focusing so much on, what the best qualities are. On the one hand, you have worked with law enforcement, as is appropriate when you're in law enforcement and you're in the U.S. Attorney's office or in the AG's office, and as a team to make sure that you bring prosecutions that are fair and just and fair-minded. But at the same time, you didn't make any bones about prosecuting bad people in law enforcement. I remember going back early in my tenure when you prosecuted a dishonest FBI agent. And you know what? That did not make you a popular guy. It did not make us popular at the FBI. But the mix of understanding that you have partners in law enforcement to keep the public safe and do it in a fair and appropriate and just way, combined with fearlessness in going after folks in law enforcement, not just law enforcement, but other public corruption officials. Malcolm Smith, who can forget the day that the office arrested Malcolm Smith, a case that you put together. So it's equal justice for everyone, no matter who you are, no matter how powerful you are, whether you carry a badge or not, whether you have been elected into office or not. If you're in the crosshairs of Alvin Bragg and you've done something bad, you better watch out. But at the same time, just to emphasize again, that we need to think about how we police communities. We need to think about ways in which we have fewer bad interactions between police and communities, particularly communities of color. And you have, I think, the best in the field perspective on that. So for a lot of reasons, not just because I know you personally, but I followed you. I had you come speak to my class so people could learn from the eminent Alvin Bragg. On every score and every dimension, I think you'd be wonderful. And so before we get to talking about other stuff, for those of you who have joined us and participated here, give more. Unfortunately, as I learned through a project with my sons this summer, it takes money, to win a race and to be successful in a race. And you're doing well in that regard, but you can always do more. Tell your friends to support Alvin Bragg, and just continue to spread the word.
No, I appreciate that, particularly the balance part. I mean, I try to underscore for folks. I mean, as you know, I live in Harlem. I grew up in Harlem, and the neighborhoods like Harlem, where kind of a police accountability issue is the most acute, are also issues where we have more public safety issues than other parts of, for example, Manhattan, just to note the jurisdiction which I'm seeking to represent. But I really appreciate that. And I mean, I think you summed it up best. I told you when I went to the AG's office, I was stealing your material. When you tell us, look, our job is, to do the right thing, for the right reason and in the right way. I told Preet, I said, look, Preet, I'm just using that. And
look, I stole it. I stole it myself. I didn't invent that.
Well, I've been telling
that's what Mary Jo used to say. Look, these traditions are important, doing things in the right way, for the right reasons, all the time. And I appreciate that that's a culture that has been, part of your persona, whether you're in the state AG's office or in the U.S. Attorney's office, and will be, your mantra and your culture and your touchstone when you're in the Manhattan DA's office. I don't know what the status and posture will be of certain cases that involve a certain president of the United States in those cases. But I know from experience with you, and also the culture of SDNY teaches this also, that you're not afraid of going after people who are powerful and have, a lot of political power and political sway. Another thing that I think is worth talking about, not just your vast experience, by the way, experience not just overseeing cases and overseeing matters, but being in the courtroom yourself. We have a Justice Department that some people may not appreciate is led by multiple people who have never been in the courtroom. So even though the job is a leadership job and a management job, it is also a job that requires someone at the top to understand what it's like to be in the trenches, and you understand that better than anybody. But especially at this time when we're at a crossroads and an inflection point and thinking about how people are treated in the criminal justice system, I think it's worth pointing out that you're the only Black candidate in the race at this time.
It's interesting, Preet, because this is something I've had to get accustomed to talking about publicly. And it is, I try to let people know it's not just something that's symbolic. I do think it is important to talk about, and then to talk about the sort of very real impact. So, growing up in the 80s in Harlem, I was stopped 3 times at gunpoint by police. And I was also had a gun pointed at me 3 times by people who were not police officers. And those experiences, shaped me, caused me to go to law school, but also made me, I think, a much better prosecutor. And I think about it a lot these days, not just in terms of me, but in terms of my kids, who are now approaching the ages that I was when I was first stopped. I know we've talked a lot over the years about kind of parenting.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important, and I'm glad you raised it.
And I think we need more leadership at the local level and more role models on the local level, so the public understands that old adage: not only must justice be done, but it must be seen to be done. And now, as you just further to what you said a few minutes ago, it's not just that things have to be done right. The public has to have confidence and faith that the people who are involved in the process, the DAs, the police, the staff, the judges, that they are all doing things for the right reasons and in the right way, as we've discussed. And I think you understand that better than anybody.
It's incredibly meaningful to me to have you, your mentorship, your friendship, and just what you've done, not just for me, but for hundreds of people you've mentored, and then really lending your voice to the nation in really this trying time. Thank you so much.
Good luck, Alvin. I'm really proud of you and proud of the campaign that you're running.
Thank you, sir.